then why aren't there other people doing it? But especially other women, right? Yeah. So out of 40 loan officers in the company, there was only one woman, period.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming out and being part of our panel as one of our keynotes.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Before we get started, why don't you share with everybody a little bit about yourself, how you came to mortgage. You have probably one of the most incredible stories. So let's let everybody know a little bit about you.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So I'm Corrina Carter, CEO of CMS Mortgage. We are now in about 27 states, maybe 28 tomorrow. Depends if my paperwork gets approved. We'll see if I did a good job. And we have about 168 team members altogether, including operations. This is my 28th year, and this is my 20-year celebration of owning my own company. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really big deal as people celebrate small businesses lately, and really how we go into that. I never really thought about really what it would look like at 20 years. Mm-hmm. I just thought about so sitting on my couch, just like we are, 28 years ago, being fired from my job. Only time I've ever been fired. I've been a good worker. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I'm a go-getter. But because I could not leave my job with a family emergency. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, my boss literally told me, you walk out that door, do not come back. Mm. His exact words. I gave you a great opportunity, Corrina, and you're a single mom with 2 kids, and this is the first year you'll make the most money you've made in your life. Do not walk out that door. And he threw that at my face. Mm. And I was like, I don't know if my nephew is going to live till Monday.
Yeah.
And this is, a Thursday. And he was like, well, so I called him Tuesday and said, hey, can I come back to work? And he said, no. So, needless to say, 3 weeks on my couch crying, how am I going to support my babies? My girlfriend called me and said, hey, I know a guy that does mortgages and he needs some help. I said, what does he need help doing? Because I don't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to spell mortgages. Yeah. And I was like, so what do I do? She's like, I don't know, go talk to him. Mm-hmm. So really where we call back in the day, like a Girl Friday, like right now, a virtual assistant, but it was an in-person assistant. Go get my coffee, go scan this paperwork, write this app up, do this, do that. And that's all I did. So then 3 weeks later, she was like, okay, the same boss that fired me, he was a real butthole to her. She's like, I'm quitting. I said, no, we can't both quit because I get paid peanuts. And I said, you're my best friend. I need you. Yeah. And she's like, well, I'm quitting. So then we joined him together. In 9 months, we paid each other's bills. And I think probably altogether, literally in 9 months, we probably each made like $3,000. And say my rent's $700 a month. Yeah. So credit card bills and us working a couple little side jobs, which I wish there was like Uber or Lyft and all that back then. Yeah. But we really made it to month 10. In month 10, we each made $10,000. Oh, wow. And then we paid off those credit cards. We paid each other off. Because she's just my best friend. Yeah. But she paid my rent last month. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then I paid hers the next month. And then she bought my kids food the next week. What that was for 9 months. Yeah. And that's what we did.
What was it that you were like, I'm going to continue to dig in here? Because that's extraordinarily hard.
Yeah.
For 9 months to
It's not 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
A few weeks. Yeah.
What kept you going?
I think for me is why we're here today and we're having this conversation. There were 40 loan officers and there were one woman out of the 40. Mm-hmm. To this day, she kicked ass for a long time in the industry. And she was like, you guys can do this. You guys can do this. But take my applications on Friday and Saturday. We would do their Friday nights and Saturday appointments. So then we started learning from her. And then all the women in our company were doing the trainings on Friday. So then we were like, okay, we convinced him we needed to go to the trainings to bring him back the information to know what we were doing. So we were got a little peep into it. And it kind of fueled us a little bit. And we were like, okay, I kind of like this. We can do this too. Then why aren't there other people doing it? But especially other women, right? Yeah. So out of 40 loan officers in the company, there was only one woman, period.
That's one of the things I love about this business is, especially for a woman and especially for a mom, the amount of flexibility we get. And without a college degree, the amount of money that we can make here, I don't know if it exists anywhere else, to be honest with you. Like, I don't have a college degree, but can out-earn a lot of my friends, you know? And it's like, we make like doctor money sometimes, and like, it's wild. And do they be able to, the ability to like have dominion over your own life? And if you need to, you know, pick up the kids from school or their games, and being able to, you know, have your cell phone and be able to, you know, create a business on your terms, I think it's beautiful. It's also very challenging. Where, you know, my kids, it was sometimes to be like, why is mom always on her phone? Or, you know, you're always on Facebook, because my business comes from Facebook. And, you know, being able to explain to them, like, listen, you have two methods of employment when you guys get older. You could do this W-2 thing, right? Correct. So like their dad has a W-2. You can do the W-2 thing where, you know, when we go on vacation, your dad does not have to be answering emails or phone calls or anything. But look how often he goes with us, right? And so the other option is really doing whatever you want, but it's going to come at a cost, you know?
Sure.
So share with me those early days, single mom.
So let's start. That's where I was 10 months in. Fast forward 2 years later, my FedEx bill was higher than my mortgage payment.
Okay.
And I had a mortgage payment 2 years later. Yeah. So I bought a house within 2 years. And then because we had to overnight all our packages to underwriting, or go pick up our closing packages. So let's say my mortgage was $1,100. My FedEx bill was sometimes $1,600. That was like really hard to deal with, right? So I think for me, then it was learning how to leverage all the other stuff I was working on. What was the most important thing? And I know a lot of people talk about flexibility, but one of my girlfriends once said, the business always has a seat at the dinner table, right? And at some point, the business always has a seat on vacation too with you, sitting by the beach, right? But you have to learn how to leverage the things around you that's really going to help lift you up. And that's one of my biggest flaws, right? Is that I was a mom, I was a single mom, I was a young mom, and I was the supporter of my family. So I was not going to trust anybody else to take on some of those duties, which I do now, right?
Right. That's
we have
a learning
whole team.
Process, yeah.
Yeah, that's taken me 28 years, though. Should I not learn that sooner? But no.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There's a couple things in there, because one, you have your money mindset that gets triggered, and we can talk about some money mindset things. And then also, it's like, I've been that very often a lot. And it's like, do I invest there? Because we don't know when the next paycheck is coming from. And being able to get into, you know, that feast or famine mentality. And like, we never know. And like, you have to then spend money to make money. And it is so scary.
Yep.
What have you learned over the years as far as like that goes, being able to balance that? And it starts small. I know for me, it was like last year doing Notorious, the budget was like $100,000, and that was scary. Like I'm also having so much faith that if God was going to give me this plan, that he was also going to give me the resources to come. Right. And so I didn't have $100,000 to throw this thing, but thankfully our sponsors came and helped support, and we did the ticket sales. And then in year 2, it's like, well, the budget is twice that, right? And eventually, would I love the $1 million budget? Oh yeah. Am I able to handle the $1 million budget right now? No, I do not have the skill or the muscle or the personal development just yet, but one day, because it comes at steps.
Yes.
So explain, you know, how did you go through those times? Because it's scary to make those jumps.
It's very scary, because it's scary when you think about, one of the things I tell loan officers when we recruit them is, we don't manage people. And they're like, what? Where do we work? What do we do? I was like, no, we manage the processes. And I think that was hard for me back in the early years, is I was really managing people.
Yeah.
Right. But if I would have just really sat down and took a little bit more time to create some of the processes, then I could implement them and also kind of weave in and out of certain things that we do a little bit better. Now, granted, technology has taken us a leaps and bounds that we're not on dial-up. And you talked about cell phone. You think I'm a little bit older than you, Paige. So my FedEx bill was $1,700, but
the
my cell phone
was
bill,
probably through the freaking
and
roof.
my cell phone, and me and my daughter were just talking about this the other day, is, do you remember the times, Mom, when we had to wait till 7 p.m. to call someone? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or do you remember the time when we had to do this because our cell phone plan wouldn't allow it? Or do you remember, or you're not getting a new cell phone until the plan renews because you messed it up or your data was wrong or whatever. So those things are a luxury now, right? That we don't pay attention. But so I think for us too, those are the learning curves of how we kind of build the processes. And that's something we've done really good the past 5 years is we've really built those processes so people can maneuver and weave in and out, including myself. But the key is who's going to follow that because we're not managing people, meaning we can teach you, we can gauge you, but are you coachable, right? Are you coachable? Are you going to take the long road? So as I do some of my talks and talk about it, my road was very long, right? I was very hard-headed. So the hard road for me was, of course, not getting people to help me, right? Not relying on someone to feed my family. Me and my best friend, that was it. That was the first time ever I actually thought about, okay, I need to call this girl and ask her. And again, we didn't know each other longer than probably less than 6 months. We knew of each other a year, but we had really got close for 6 months. And I'm calling her that my kids need fed, right? Or vice versa. She's calling me that my electric bill needs paid. And we did that. So relying on that, I was like, I don't know that I'm not really good living in survival mode. So that's not me. I'm not good working in chaos.
Most people are not good in that mode.
No, I'm not. So I have to have a plan of action, and I'm very regiment. I'm very anchored, right? Even when I was younger. So having people kind of weave in and out of your day or your business, it's hard because then that gets you a little bit off track when you're especially regiment, right? So for me, that's the hard part. So I think for me is just really thinking future-wise, okay? One of the good things I think, my failure is not employing people into my business and helping me. One of the good things is I think I forecasted very well for my position, right? For what I wanted to do. Because half the people that wanted to be in business with me were either in jail or out of business in like 5 months or 5 years, back 2005, 2010, when all those issues went on. I'm like, nope, I'm good by myself, right? Corrina, you could double your business. You could do this. Come in and help me run this. Come in and help me this. I'm like, nope, I'm good, right?
Scary times back then.
Very much so.
Let's also talk about, you guys employ a lot of women. You're very women-led and very, what's the majority you have over there?
So someone was saying, actually, I just had to complain to one of my swag people because I was like, we ordered socks. They were kind of spendy because of how we designed them. And I was like, they don't fit men. And he was like, well, we kind of went with the middle. It's medium, large, and extra large. And I was like, did you tell me that? And he's like, I don't think I did. And I was like, well, you should have told me that. Because granted, I don't want to leave them out. We're 63% women, to answer your question, which is going anything over, 25% is really abnormal in our industry, right? So we're 63. So we're about a 60-40, right? And I was just like, okay, for our event that we're doing in October, I said, I have to order these socks immediately because they have to be eligible to fit them in. And because I gave them out and they were like, these are really nice socks. And when the guy's like, I was like, you're struggling. Like, what size are you? He's like, I'm 11. And I said, they barely fit you. I was like, what's wrong with that? So I say that to say, I also make sure, too, is that we're being mindful of both. But how did I get here when there was only one of me, and now I have 63% of me on my team, which is very abnormal in our industry and also very hard, I think, for a woman to manage other women and their personality and their characteristics, their motherhood, their life events. We could build a book just on the story of the life events that we've gone through as a company the past 2 years. Right?
And, being able to support women through it's different. We have different obligations and responsibilities and all of that kind of stuff. That's part of the reason why we have Notorious, is to honor that. It's not like an anti-men thing, but it's just our lives are very different, and what we have to juggle is different. And a lot of times, if you're putting up a 90 to 100% male panel, you are disregarding, half of the room in there, you know? And so being able to have a female model for success that can look very different, a female business model, because there's things that like men are willing, like they're like glutton for punishment sometimes. I'll be like, you cold calling? I'm like, no, like I don't want to hear no, you know, I'm not going to cold call. But men, they can do that. Like they can do business in a different way. And so, you know, having stuff like that we do here, just a more feminine way of building a business in this industry and having that support. You know, when I first started Notorious, part of it was I thought I was like fighting the patriarchy, you know, fight the patriarchy in mortgage. And then what I found is like the women that came, they would say things like, my heart healed in a special place because some like the men, you know, she's like, I know how to deal with them, right? Yeah. Just like, I'll just outproduce them and it's easy, right? Yeah, like, the women sometimes are the hardest ones. They're the ones that hurt our hearts the most and the biggest trespassers against that. And I'm sure, you know, in any long career, we're just subject to some of that. What have been, you know, how do you go through those times? What have been your biggest heartaches in here? And
I think so. I had a slogan back in the early 2000s that was, I was the FHA mortgage queen, right? And I even had the phone number for it.
Okay.
Right? And I had it on my truck, everything, all the goods when you first came out with vanity numbers. But that was a really hard road for me because what I didn't learn was because I was a woman, I did want to help everybody. Because I helped my whole family, because every family that came to the table, I felt like deserved a home. I felt like, so I really was like the FHA turn down queen in my area.
That's like, a hard business to do. It's like the hardest of hard files.
Very hard. Yeah. So I couldn't even get out of my own way to kind of say, okay, other people will relate to me if I just change my path, right? And I think that's a lot what we talk about is that the fear of if we do something different, are people going to be relatable to you? Are you really going to be able to stand in the same room? And for me, that was a path that I took that I stunted my growth a lot, right? I really stunted my growth because then I would neither one of my kids wanted to get into the business because I would panic getting these people to the table, right? And they're like, hell to the F. No, I'm never getting in that business. We've seen how hard my mom has struggled. We've seen how hard this is. And I was just telling someone out there today, talking about our processes and talking about not managing people in our processes. And I told our team, and we had a really good team meeting last week. And I said, one of the things, I was like, okay, tone it down because we got into a little heated. We always get a little heated and be passionate.
That's what kind of people we are.
And I said, look, we got 600 loans to the table in the last less than 90 days. Let's count. I want everybody to count how many were hair on fire. And we were like 5. That's right. And I was just like, but this is why my kids didn't want in the business then. I closed 5, 4. If not 4.5, my hair was on fire. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I stunted my own growth. I was in my own way. So that was a struggle. And then rebuilding your business after the crash. Yeah. And everybody throwing a regular loan officer comp at you or regular 90 base, come work for us. You don't need to be doing this. You don't need, the hard path to rebuild your business, blah, 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 blah. And I stuck it out. And, it took longer. But then here we are.
Yeah, so. You have autonomy. Yeah, that was like one of the things. I grew up in a mortgage family too. My mom opened our mortgage company in '93, and I didn't want any. Like I worked there in a support staff position growing up, and then I was like, but I'll never be in this business because for me, it took my mom away from me, and it was she was a single mom and had to do a lot of sacrifices and plenty of I'm so grateful my kids will never know stuff like this, but like I remember growing up, it was like I knew where the public utility was, right? Because we had to like go down and pay because you get the notice that things might get turned off, and like after 2008, my mom was like, we may shut down, we may not. It was very scary for her. Now coming on this side of the business, I've wild how I end up here, but we all kind of do. But now really seeing it a blessing because it made me more available for my kids. Yeah. And then also sometimes the challenge with our business is that we don't know where that next paycheck is going to come from. And if you really want to design a business that you love, you have to be willing to lose business, because if not, you end up doing all low, hardest of hard files, And so that's a hard one for people to get, where I'm like, yeah, I know that this is your bread and butter, but this is a really hard business.
Yes.
Let me teach you a better way to do it,
Yeah.
And that being okay, and also, so I'm hoping we're switching from the hustle and the grind and it having to be hard into something that's a little bit more harmonious, and that, it's okay for you to go out there and make a really good income. And, sometimes for women, that's a little hard. The men are fine being all flashy, but women, it triggers us in certain ways. And so hopefully events like this that we're putting on give women the permission and the, authority to go out there and build whatever they want. So I know we're just getting started in our week, our couple of days here. What has been your best, favorite thing so far?
So far, I really think I can't pick a favorite thing yet.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you what my favorite thing. But what I will say is I want to absolutely give you credit for your marketing.
Thank you.
You stepping up and showing who you are, and also inviting us into this space. And I don't think I've met anyone here who has not been invited. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that by you come to a paid event. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Is that you feel like you really feel comfortable, you want to be here, everybody enjoys it, and have something in common. And it's really not even to the point where what can I do for you, what you can do for me, but really the reciprocation in the energy and what, everybody feels.
Yep.
So I really love that. And I really love all the little touches that you put into everything. So I coach on unreasonable hospitality. It's one of my new certifications that I coach on. So I really go into a room looking at things differently than I did before because of coaching that.
Yeah.
Even small businesses. I'm doing a lot for real estate agents that not mortgages.
Yeah.
And it's they're like, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. And it's just those little extra touches that I think mean so much to everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I try to put myself I try to create the event that I really want to do. Everything I'm like, what do I want to do? And I'm like, ooh, let's do a pajama jam. And there's so much of it. I feel like I'm healing my high school heart through the event. I wasn't one of the girls that was invited to all the dances or anything like that. So then I'm like, let's do this and let's get, matching jackets. And I wasn't necessarily always felt like I was included. And so that has then turned into creating something where I want to give that to other people, and that feeling of sisterhood and camaraderie and everybody's welcome. And because that healing my own high school heart through the process. Let's also share with people, you do have a coaching business
I do.
And the Moxie Lounge and all of that. We didn't even touch on it.
Yeah.
Why don't you share people how you can support them in their business?
So for me, it's CorrinaCarter.com, but my retirement gig here soon, I'm not far off from it, is really coaching and teaching small businesses, mortgage, real estate, inside and out, and how to do that. I would love to shorten someone's path on the processes, on the SOPs, the SLAs, the unreasonable hospitality, what that I think I really failed at that took me so long to get there, that I can shorten their path a lot shorter. And I think for that, I've really put together a really good program. I'm putting it together similar to you. It's the Moxie Lounge, which is a community for lifestyle for women too. But also just to really go in and collaborate and do things differently. So I think that's very important for me. My coaching, though, I will have to say, a little disappointed. So I'm still kind of thinking about a little extra theme there because my kudos to you for your trademark, because my trademark got declined because I think I had told you that story, the old That Girl Learning. And I was like, it's not even a TV show or media. So it was That Girl Learning. But needless to say, because you're always what you just said is you fit in everywhere. Like my whole theory of me, like the issues I had younger was I fit in everywhere, but didn't fit in anywhere in my mind. And that was my turbulence I went through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you exclude yourself. You're not necessarily excluded all the time, but you've excluded yourself. And I did that a lot to myself as younger. So yes, CorrinaCarter.com for coaching for small businesses, how to grow your business, what you can do to shorten your path.
Yeah. And
I
that's
want to
why
help.
events like this are so important, because I know for myself, like I'm not a SOP person. I'm like, I need a handler. If I can just have people that follow behind me physically and like metaphorically, because I'm the runner, you know, I'm the runner, I'm the creator, I'm the doer. But then it's like, good Lord, those SOPs can really create, well, one, you can scale. You can't scale without any sort of process. And, you know, it just really creates a better, faster experience of building a business. So, yes, SOPs for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I cannot wait for your keynote later on today.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. Oh, one of my favorite things was putting together the slideshow, and like your slides in particular is like filled with like so many pictures.
I was like, trust the process. Don't judge it yet. Don't look. Just trust the process.
Yeah, I learned so much about you just through that. I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to see this one on stage. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming. And thank you guys for taking a watch today at Standout here over at Notorious. We cannot wait to share our wrap up with you of our event here in Austin. You guys can go ahead and go to notoriouswmn.com to check out all of our new offerings. Go over to Facebook and join our Facebook group, Notorious Women in Mortgage, and you can catch us across all socials, Notorious WMN.